You have to be willing to make a fool of yourself. You truly have to set your pride and your ego aside. It is so hard. And it also sets you up for constant failure and pain to like live that openly. But it's worth it.
Filmmaker Magazine presents Back to One with Peter Rinaldi.
Tallie Medel is an actor. She sat down with me on the Upper West Side of Manhattan to talk about the work.
I don't believe that things are meant to happen, right? I actually think it's blasphemous to say things are meant to happen. I believe, though, that you weren't meant to come on the show until now.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't prepared for you until now.
Wow. I also don't think that I would have been ready before now because it's taken me a really long time to open up about how much I love acting.
Oh.
I think I would have been pretty snarky, but no, my heart grew.
And what do you think that is? Is that like the snarky temptation? Is that just a youth thing that you kind of grew out of, or do you think that there's something that happened with your work that you grew out of the snarkiness about talking about it?
I think both of those things. And also, I had a big attitude problem about the fact that acting was something that I even wanted to do. I would just put it down all the time, like, acting is embarrassing. Nobody should act. This is an insane thing to do. Why are we adults, like, pretending to cry?
Well, wait, where was that coming from, though? Did you really think that, or were you just saying that?
I really felt that way, which sucks. And it really stalled my progress and development as an actor. I went to Emerson College in Boston and was so resistant to voice work, Greek theater, Shakespeare, because I hated seeing like big performances that I didn't feel like were earned. And I'm still allergic to a lot of Shakespeare and melodrama.
I know what you mean.
But that was only hurting myself, like casting judgment on that.
Yeah.
And like being like, oh, that's cringe, only hurts you.
Yeah.
Like it's just preventing you from growing.
But I feel like I relate to that, and I would have been like that if I was in that class. Because I know I have the same instincts you have about that stuff. I have the same thing, like sometimes I find myself in something like that, and I'm like, oh no, I'm in the middle of the aisle. Like I want to leave. I don't want to be a part of the embarrassment that this is.
Yeah.
This like grand, like performative thing.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
happening. I want to get out of there. I'm looking around to leave.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I could now see what you're saying, though. To not have that judgment about it and to just do it is so helpful. It's so beneficial, right?
Yeah.
To you. But do you now have this? The judgment is gone, but do you have this desire to actually dip in that?
Now I do.
You do.
A big part of that has been starting to teach clown.
Yeah.
I could talk about clown for hours.
I want you to talk about clown, and I think you should let's
Start
go
now.
with the flow of it. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Because it's a big part of your life, right? And a big part of your work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially recently. The past couple of projects I've been working on, I haven't done a feature in a minute. I've been doing a lot of short films, and then I've been teaching clown. That's been my work for like the past year, I guess. I'm teaching two 8-week courses coming up, starting the 13th and 14th. And so I'm like building a curriculum right now too, which is overwhelming because it's like there's so much I want to do, but I also want to make sure that each lesson plan is structured around maybe one theme at a time. So I'm like picking and choosing which exercises I want to do, which teachers I'm thinking of. And I also feel, talk about blasphemy, I feel like I'm intruding in this space because I am still learning so much about clown. I don't have my own clown yet. I haven't found that. But I love talking about it, and I love doing these exercises, and it feels like acting class 101, the best acting class, when it's like theater camp or something, and there's no competition.
Yes. You
can't compete with clown. That's what'll show up as the clown. It's the most vulnerable part of yourself.
So wait, how did this start for you? How did you get involved with that kind of
Emerson College has a study abroad program at a castle in the Netherlands. It's called Kasteel Well. It's between, I don't know how to, I'm just pretending I know how to speak Dutch. I don't know how. It's between Venlo and Nijmegen. And the theater class when I was there, which would have been 2006, was ensemble. And the teacher we had, this great clown, her name's Sophie Bonhout, was performing, and so she had her friend, I wish I could remember his last name, a Belgian clown named Daniel something. He came in to sub for her a couple times, and he's a clown. So Sophie was doing like Tai Chi and a lot of classical theater with us. We were putting on the sort of just some scenes from Antigone. And so that's what we worked on mostly with her. But Danielle was just doing clown games with us. And there was something about, even though it was so ridiculous, it didn't give me that sense of people trying. It felt like I was so tired of seeing people what felt like faking or exploiting big emotions. Because there are like terrible things happen all the time, and I don't want to see someone getting off on their own interpretation of what that might feel like. I think it's really disrespectful. But on the other hand, you'll never do a good job at that and actually expressing that, which is really important for people because not everybody's able to do that. So like one of our jobs as actors is letting people feel that. So you have to be able to get there, which means making an effort. And I was just unwilling to even make the effort. Whereas with clown, there's like, let me think, what was one of the first things we did? I think the lightning bolt was an exercise where you and a partner are tossing a ball back and forth. And every time you receive the ball, you say thank you. And then you both turn and look at your audience, or Gaulier and Gene Taylor call it the public. You turn to your public and you just acknowledge them. Then you turn back to your partner, you throw the ball, they catch it, they say thank you, you turn back to the public. And it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. I was weeping and doing it. You feel so stupid. And you get to see like all these different things can happen. So many things can happen. It completely changes between the two people. And the moment of like two like adult men turning and facing an audience after one's caught a ball and said thank you is just like looking at them, and like if they're kind of proud of themselves, it's like, it's so funny. So I was like, that's what I want to see.
But wait, let's analyze what that is. When you say eureka, that is what I want to see. Like, what is that? Because I'm curious about that, because I think I can relate. Like, there's something pure about the comedy there of it that you like, that's not manufactured? The repetitiveness that you as an audience are waiting for the next thing, and then you're filling in stuff because of faces?
It's, you know what I think it is, and this is something I'm glad that you're giving me an opportunity to articulate it, because I'm still finding the words. The clown is not the actor, the clown is the person. It's the humanity. So like chi, energy, you know, like this, like, say, I like to talk about like a golden ball, like a golden center, so that like any movement stuff is sort of emanating from there. That's in every single one of us, right? So you get to have these moments of like, I see you. And it's a real relief for the audiences to see people at their most human. And in classes, I just go home, and I feel like people go home just in love with the world and in love with each other, because there are also exercises you can take from class and apply in life. One, it's a Christopher Bayes exercise where you're exploring the classroom and saying, hey, what's this? And you hop every time and you point at it. And it's like you've never seen it before. And sometimes it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. And sometimes it's the saddest thing you've ever seen or the funniest thing you've ever seen. And I have to really push people to be like, no, it's the funniest thing you've ever seen. I want you screaming. I want your head thrown back. And that's the thing is like, I was the kind of student who never wanted to do that.
Yes, I relate to that. That's something like it's all going together, right? What you're saying with like your inability to go there with that was also wrapped up in like the judgment of the other things, right? That you're talking about.
Yes.
That's all this kind of, I relate to that so much. I feel like it's like it's something we have to get over or something in order to advance in the work, though,
because
right?
it's pride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I read an essay. I need to find the author of this. I need to find this essay again. She was a student, and in her classroom, someone said the clown is the version of yourself your friends make fun of you for behind your back, which is so eviscerating. But I think it's not, I don't want though like that definition then to make people feel like ashamed, because I think then it sort of like scares you.
Yeah.
But it also is that. It's like the thing that we're not in control of, because we never get to actually control people's perception of us.
Right.
We like to think that we can,
right.
But that's the pride and that's status. And it's actually not up to us. Like an anecdote that I like to tell is my friend and I were looking at this girl on the train. She was so beautiful, and she was eating a Nutella banana crepe. And she kept like dabbing at her perfect face. And then she got off the train, she wrapped up the crepe, put it in her bag. She had chocolate everywhere. She didn't know. It was so endearing. So like that's clown, right? But then also the thing is too, what's scary is like people can either laugh at themselves or they'll kill everyone. Like you don't know how it's going to go in real life.
Right.
But we love the people who can laugh at themselves.
Right, right. So you have that eureka moment where you're like that.
Yeah.
That was still in class where you're, right?
I was a sophomore in college, yeah.
And then so was there any other things that happened during that class that formed this appreciation for this particular style of work? Yeah, the practice.
Definitely.
That's a good word. Yeah.
I forget now if it was my junior year or my senior year, but myself and a group of other students, I guess, petitioned or like asked the acting program if we could add a clown course. I think it was just a semester. I have no memory. And two of our professors there, Sarah Hickler and Ken Cheeseman, helped us structure it. So they cycled in different clowns to teach, a couple weeks here, a couple weeks there. And it was awesome. It was such a great class. So that really, also because there were clowns with all these different styles, like some were status clowns, some were more like, not circus clowns necessarily, but all these different ways of practicing it. Because there was such a variety, we got like a lot of different takes on it. We didn't have any teachers that I think are common right now. I don't mean common in a bad way, and also I don't even know if I'm telling the truth right now. But I feel like there's been a trend, or like what I've been hearing a lot from people is I wanted to take it, but I was scared because the teachers were really mean. And that there is definitely, I tend toward like a much I want to not scare people away. Yeah. But clown teachers can be eviscerating.
Really?
Because they're like, do we like them? No. Or like, it's that thing of like, if you are putting any kind of hat on top of a hat, like you're trying to be funny, they'll be like, you're not funny, we don't like you, that's, I mean, also like I'm making this up, but it's basically that, because they're trying to get you to just be there and just stand there.
So it's probably kind of important to be that direct, but you don't have to be harsh, is what you're saying, right?
I think some people might need for the teacher to be harsh, but also I don't, number one, want to. Number two, I don't know how. I wouldn't know how to build that person back up again before they left the classroom.
The thing, right? That's the thing. Because that could be really damaging. Somebody could
be super damaging.
Run out and never come back.
Right.
To do anything like this again.
Right.
So I think that there are people that even now that are listening, when they hear the word clown, they're thinking, oh, okay, but I don't want to do that because I'm not interested in that style of... Yeah. But this impacts all of your work, right? Like it informs and impacts and strengthens all of your work, right? Can you talk about that?
It's about presence. And also even before like I started to explicitly talk about clown and start to teach it, improvisation was something I really gravitated toward. I was in the long form improv team at Emerson College. We were called This Is Pathetic. We performed all the time. And I love presence. I'm not the kind of actor who can go method. I like anything that's happening in the room, I really believe is going to affect what's happening anyway. And I depend so much on my scene partners and what's going on and, you know, the textures in the room and everything. I just don't know how to work another way. I would love to learn, but so like that was already in my practice as an actor, and also performing with Cocoon Central Dance Team is super clowny because like those clowns are pure ego. It's, you know, three women assuming that they're fantastic dancers and incredibly beautiful. And we're like, oh, I mean, we are fantastic dancers and we're incredibly beautiful. But it's I don't know if you've seen us perform before, but it's very stupid.
I just saw the movie. Never live.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, there you go.
It's a truly unique film.
Thank you.
So what was it that made you want to teach this though, and not just keep using it? Do you know what I mean? For yourself. And is there something that is beneficial to you in your work from teaching it?
Absolutely. They both inform the other. By having to articulate these ideas to students, I'm able to then inform my own practice as an actor. And any work that I'm doing, I'm able to sort of think through and put into practice in the classroom. And I started teaching it because I just love it so much. I think it's so interesting and I love doing these exercises. And it just feels like I'm spreading the gospel. I don't know. I just want to talk about it and do it. And students have been awesome. People show up really game, really ready to play. Even if they're terrified, the fact that they show up at all is so huge. And the expectations also are you know, nil. It's like we're just here to see what happens. I'm not trying to inform anybody about exactly what their clown is or who their clown's going to be or name them or anything like that. I just want them to get to experience throwing the ball and having to look at an audience after they threw the ball. It's like really special to be there.
Is that still funny?
It is so funny.
Class after class.
I mean, you know, there's other stuff.
I know, but I mean, in that particular exercise, you still laugh at that.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing.
Because it's different every single time. Right. And also, like, it's not necessarily funny. I had two students who were doing it, and there was just, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. She was so grateful every time she received it, and he was so kind. And it just really felt like, I don't know, you create all these narratives, you know, when you're watching, no matter what. That's just the way that our brains work. So everybody in the audience was like, there was something happening there, you know?
That's another lesson. Like when you see something so simple and so minimal, and you're filling in all this stuff automatically. Yeah. And that's a lesson to us as storytellers, probably. Totally. How you need so little. I mean, you need a lot in yourself or whatever, or in the situation, but you don't need to put a lot on top of it. You don't need to put the hat on top of the hat. Yeah. That's the lesson.
My friend Riley Soloner told me he's taken, Wavy Gravy is one of his clown teachers, and Wavy Gravy told him the joy is subversive enough. That's always blown my mind.
Yeah.
Have you heard this anecdote? What am I talking? why do I keep saying the word anecdote? It's not. Okay, Peter Brook was talking in front of an audience. We saw a video of it when I was in acting school. And he's talking about how in cinema you can use special effects to blow up the Eiffel Tower, and that'll have a certain emotional effect on your audience. But if you tell everyone that this bottle of water, he has a glass of water, which it has water in it, is the Eiffel Tower, and then you tip it, that is so much more engaging.
Right.
Or I think it's more engaging anyway.
Right.
It's active, it's happening.
Yeah. So you were talking about like improvisation is something that you just gravitated toward early on, right?
Yeah.
How much are you able to do that in these movies that you have done that we know and love? Like in Dan Sallitt's movies, are you improvising a lot?
No.
Oh, interesting.
No. Dan's films are really scripted, super scripted. And I love that about his films because also, like, I was doing a lot of improvised filmmaking at the beginning of my work, and I love those films. But what's hard about improvised dialogue and stuff is like you're working very outside in. Like maybe you'll say something where everyone decides that's great and to repeat that, but you're then trying to remember what it was you said, and you're not actually able. Then your brain is taking over, and it's too much work, sort of.
Yeah.
And in my experience, I don't know, I mean, how it felt to me is that it can end up with actors becoming typecast because you're essentially just playing versions of yourself because you can't really like develop the character. I don't think that's true across the board, but that's how I started to feel about it. Whereas if you have a really strong ballast, if there's, like also Ricky D'Ambrose, I think, is a great example because working with Ricky, he'll say, angle your chin down, sniff at this moment, touch your face here. And I love being the automaton as long as, because then you actually have room to like move from there, like how kids crave structure. It's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, but somebody listening might be like, how could someone who likes and works well in improv also like to be the automaton and like the structure like that, or thrive in the structure?
I think because the structure is there, then you can be free.
Yeah, I hear this.
Yeah.
I hear this.
Yeah. And like you can actually be present.
It kind of, there's something freeing about the structure then.
Yes. Yeah.
It must be that having all possibilities taken away kind of makes you relax.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. I think like speaking more to like about like Dan, for example, where there's no need for improvisation because those scripts are beautiful. And I mean, like improvised dialogue anyway.
Yeah.
And the way that Ricky directs with everything being so specific. And also, I don't know like how his style as a director has changed because these were shorts from a long time ago, or it's on an appearance as a feature. And what was our short? So those were a long time ago, but I loved that it was so specific. It was exciting. And I think I was also really craving it because I'd been doing so much improvised filmmaking there.
Yeah. Just having that as a shake-up was probably good. And then when you do something like gigantic, like Everything Everywhere All at Once, like that was probably the biggest thing that you ever acted in. Were you worried about like the atmosphere and environment on the set? Whereas in an independent film, like, you know what I mean? Like I would imagine you're able to like kind of be a little more free as an actor than in something like that.
I think I would say that more so on like television, sets, which are, such a machine, I definitely felt like more of like, okay, get in, get out.
Yeah.
But Daniel's process is so warm and collaborative. It feels like a theater company because they've been working with the same people for a long time. And they are very like physically active. If there's it's like a family atmosphere. So, and also they're longtime friends and collaborators of mine.
Right.
So I already knew what to expect. And that role was an offer. I knew already that they had cast me for like specific traits, basically.
Yeah.
And so I was, the stressful part was knowing that I was going to be working with legends.
Right.
But then also it made my job so much easier because they were incredible.
That movie seems like the kind of movie, and this probably isn't so because of what you're saying, where the actor gets lost in the spectacle.
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah, it wasn't that at all.
Why do you think that didn't happen?
I think there's so many factors, but I would love to be able to just say one thing. I think because the sets are so playful. They're really warm and they're really playful. There's a lot of genuine love there. Stephanie Shu said on the Las Culturistas podcast something that Echo Kwan, who's married to Kihai Kwan, said about how the soul of our movie attracted these like souls to it. You really have to be a certain, I think, kind of artist to, in the early stages of the movie, say, yes, I need to be there. I need to be in it. And so because that vibe was already there, where all of us really believed in this project, there wasn't any pretension that I ever saw anyway. Zero. Also, like, there was no time. The whole feature it was shot in less than 40 days. And it was low budge, in a way, like.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like the feeling that I want to communicate about my time, at least when we were shooting in the laundromat on location, is we had chairs that were lined up against one of the rows of dryers. So I'm sitting next to Jenny Slate and Jamie Lee Curtis under, just like fluorescent lights, maybe. I think. And we're like showing each other videos on our phone. Which, I mean, I think that's also, I guess that's typical, but like, it was so chill. It felt like an indie where everybody's getting along. Because that's the thing. It's like indies aren't necessarily fun.
Right.
But, and like Michelle was just so excited to be working on it.
Yeah.
And like all the VFX stuff, that's just 5 guys who did the VFX. And that said, I wasn't on set for hardly any of that.
Right,
Becky's only
right.
in the laundromat and in the apartment.
Right.
So, but still, like, footage that I've seen behind the scenes stuff, like, they're just making it happen with just, like, it wasn't a huge thing.
Yeah.
And I love that that's also what's blowing people's minds about the movie is like, how did you do that?
Yeah.
It's like, well, you just keep making movies.
Yeah.
Like, you make movies because you love to make them.
Right.
That's how they've always worked. Daniel Scheinert, I've known for longer, and that guy just can't stop making movies.
There you
and
go.
was always so innovative, and money was never, we didn't have any. So it was like his ability to tell really compelling visual stories were like, money was not even something that we could consider.
Yeah.
It was about the visuals and the story. So it's like, yeah, of course. I mean, give them $10 million and they'll make this.
Right. Getting into like the nitty gritty of filming stuff, do you work better when things are rehearsed, or are you the kind of actor that's like, let's film the rehearsal?
I think I like both, but ideally I would like both also to be happening. I thought that I used to like showing up and just like, okay, let's see.
Yeah.
But now I miss rehearsal, because I think it goes back to that same idea of I need the balance beam. I need the beam.
Wait, you mean you need the balance beam? I thought I knew what you meant, but no, I don't.
Like I need a strong beam.
Oh, like support.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need a springboard. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's a scene that I might be doing with a couple people, and I've got the script, and like something is happening to me now that I guess is happening because of this show. Listening to great people like you talk about this, like my instinct is like, okay, I understand this scene, but there's a way of doing this. And I know how to do it. I want to kind of avoid that.
Whoa,
do you know what I mean?
Falling into the same rhythm every time?
Or just falling into like, I know how this should be done.
Yeah.
Because I have bad effects from that, from that kind of thinking. I'm just curious if you understand what I'm saying by that, and if there is something you do to kind of get yourself like on that other frequency, kind of, because there's so many times, like if people talk about your work, a word that keeps coming up and over is authenticity. And it's true. There's something very real all the time. I'm just wondering if like there's a way that you try to kind of get things to that kind of place of allowing you to be able to do that over and over again.
I cultivate personal relationships with my co-stars and the crew if there's time and I can. I don't even mean to necessarily on purpose, but it just sort of happens. I just love people. I love people so much. And something that was fun, which I've never done before, my co-star and I on a short recently are looking into each other's eyes for a long time at the beginning of a take, which is so uncomfortable. And so lately I've really been asking people, I'll ask you, what's your favorite fruit?
Fruit?
Yeah. You don't have to choose just one.
No, they're flowing through. I'm flowing through them, and I'm saying I like that, but I can't call that my favorite.
Yeah, I get it.
So you want me to just give you one? Banana.
Great. I love when people say banana. And then a lot of people are like, it's boring. And I'm like, bananas rock. I'm a real peak season nectarine.
Okay.
Man.
Yes, absolutely.
So good. But also, seasonal, they'll change. Anyway,
yes.
So Nick and I had already had this conversation. So then I said, I'm going to think of a fruit. And after we cut, you guess what I was thinking of. And then we would do it back and forth for each other. So it made it more active instead of just having to hold eye contact with someone.
Interesting.
And squirm.
Yeah.
It was like mind reading.
Yeah, right.
And it made it a game. I like to gamify as much as possible. Also, something that I really believe in is singing through the scene.
Wow.
Just singing it, because then it allows you to, again, sort of gamify it and break up any rhythm and cadence that you've fallen into.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
That actually does, like, it kind of breaks also any kind of connection you have to those words that isn't genuine or like connected to the authentic place.
Yeah.
Of like it's just a performative thing.
Yeah.
And you're kind of almost pushing it out through performance of song. And
it also helps you memorize the lyrics, the words.
Right. Interesting.
And it's dumb and fun.
Right. So what do you do when people aren't into your games? Like when somebody
scary.
when somebody doesn't want to like do the eye contact thing, or
I'll throw up. I don't know what hasn't happened yet. I'm terrified.
Do you try and move them toward you in another way without directly doing it. Like if they're really stressed out of their mind, there's no time. It's like a TV thing, you know what I mean? But you need that kind of connection with the person,
I think I try, I just want to be able to show up for people and be super present. So when I did Broad City, I had like one line in a scene with Abby, and Alana was directing that episode. So like, you know, in between takes we're talking, but also they're both having to make decisions about what's going on. And so any like work anxiety or whatever was happening there, we're able to like address and then like, you know, pick back up again. Or like if my co-star is like, for instance, the Norma's scene of weeping and 14, at that point our friendship was so deep that, you know, we're just able to be there for one another. I think even if you're not close friends with whoever your scene partner is, your scene partners are, being present for each other counts. Yeah. Like, yeah, I wouldn't gamify something like that, I don't think.
Yeah.
And like Becky's scene with Gong Gong and Everything Everywhere, that just felt like the easiest thing in the world. Because you also really want that moment at that point in the film.
I want to talk to you about a very obscure performance you did.
Wow. I can't wait.
You don't say one word. Can you tell me what it is?
No, I don't remember.
Really?
Oh, Parthenon.
That's right.
Yeah. Don't you love Frank? We love Frank.
Yeah, I love Frank. I love that film though. Maybe not as much as I love Frank, because I really love Frank, but
yeah, Parthenon's great. I love Lily.
But you know, you do something in that, right? I mean, you have to do something without words there. So you get to the set and you're like, how am I going to do that? That's what I would say.
Yeah.
And then I would already be on the wrong foot.
It is scary.
But it sounds like you weren't scary. It sounds like what you're saying is like on paper it's scary, but you weren't scared.
Yeah, I think, you know, that there's always the... Acting for film and TV is really punishing because you'll never be happy with the work that you did. Or I don't know if it has to be true, but it's like always every time that I have to watch something back, I'm like, oh, shit, that's not it. And it just reminds me that I need to be on stage more so I don't have to beat myself up every time. But, you know, there's always the fear of... Like, am I gonna do it right this time?
Right.
So, but also I feel like the narrative in that is so clear, and Frank is such an excellent, clear director. So, the narrative with what's happening in each exchange with Lily didn't feel like it was just floating around in the ether. It still felt like there was a direct line of communication between us.
What partially helped you there, then what you're saying is the clarity in the script.
Yes. It's funny sometimes. I feel like that it happens sometimes where you do a rehearsal and then you're like, wait, what does this mean? It's like it doesn't happen until the day.
Yeah. And then the funny thing is when the writer isn't around and everyone has to try and figure out, we actually don't know really what this means, and who is she talking to when she turns here? Right. Is this
yeah, it's so dumb.
How come we didn't know this until we're actually trying to frame this out?
Yeah. My partner Bobby Wallace has this really great theory that the screenplay is an imperfect format. Film and television is something that's only been around for a very short amount of time. And it's visual, so why are we relying so much on a script?
Totally.
And to start from a storyboard or like two action figures interacting, like start it in the physical space.
That's right. And we really should at this point have this down in terms of being able to use images and even videos in a format where you could see it, you know what I mean? Like, and hold it and like have a script that actually is little videos or little images or whatever, and you keep turning it. And I mean, this is the future. We're like, how many years are we past 2001: A Space Odyssey? 22 years? 22 years ago, a movie was set called 2001: A Space Odyssey. And now we're 13 years after its sequel called 2010: A Space Odyssey, or whatever the hell that was called. And
I didn't know that existed.
So we are years and years after the sequel to a 2001: A Space Odyssey, and we still don't have images and scripts. And I'm mad.
Yeah, I can tell.
If you can build an ideal situation of working with a director, like what would that look like for you in order to bring out the best that you have to give?
I had such a positive experience making Snowy Bing Bongs, and it was very unique because Alex Fisher and Rachel Walther took Cocoon's existing stage show, convinced us that they should make it a movie, scripted it, and we were like executive producers and stars. We were like consulting on our own thing.
Yeah.
And so we just got to walk onto set, these beautiful sets, and Alex and Rachel already knew what we could do and then also what they wanted from us. So it was like incredibly organic, really playful and very alive. And so that was like a dream experience as an actor. And also it was our baby.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess, I mean, because every single set is so, you learn so much every time. Yeah, I love being like given room to do another take. It's always really exciting when there's like, okay, do you want to just try one this time and like do whatever you want, or that sort of thing is, that to me always feels exciting, that it's alive and it's a conversation that's ongoing. And like so much time and energy goes into the preparation for these projects, and like, you know, conversations like this, like, you know, deep, really talking about big ideas. And then when you're on set, there's this feeling of rush and any technical difficulties that have arisen and all the waiting, that sort of thing, that then when you're ready to go, it's like you have to sort of backtrack and like get back to that place.
Yeah.
So ideally, and this is what I also really love about indies, is that when you lose that time, you can still, when you come back to set, it's like you're checking back in with the sound. I mean, I guess this is also every set, but like at that point, ideally, you're friends with whoever's on sound. You get to say hi again to G&E. You're talking again to the DP and the director. And so it's like, it's not just like 0 to 100. It's like you get to it. I feel like there needs to still be an energy flow. And then that'll parlay into whatever's happening when you're recording the scene.
If I am someone who 4 or 5 times saw the posting for your clown class and decided to almost do it but didn't every time, what is hypothetically, let's say I was that person, what is one sentence that you can say to me right now to try and convince me to do it? One sentence.
You'll fall in love with people.
That was really quick.
It's really how I feel. It's like you get to see you get to see the best of people, which like during the pandemic, was like a real lifesaver. It's also really anti-fascist, which has always been the role of a clown. But seeing like the spark in each of us in defying classification, but at the same time, like, because what the fascists don't want is for us to like be like, oh, you're a person, I'm a person.
Yeah.
We have like what they can't account for is our humanity.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. Doesn't
Right.
Humanity isn't like innately a good or a bad thing or whatever. It just
Right.
is. But like the classes just make you fall in love with people.
Is this experience that you're having teaching this class changing your philosophy of comedy?
Yes.
Can you explain?
Yes. I talk a lot in class about cringe and cleverness. The trend toward like the let's not and say we did sort of, comedy is, I think that's fascist because it's like it's creating divisiveness and it's cruel. It's also, again, something that Bobby and I talk about is the like comedy should be working class laughing at the rich, and it's inverted, and that's dangerous. And so like moving away from cleverness, like, not that you have to move away from dialogue and moving toward cringe, I guess, which, so like the way that I like to see it these days, to combat like my own, depression and anxiety too, is when we're in the physical like act of cringing, like it's sort of like we're like our rib cages are collapsing and we're like trying to protect our Care Bear hearts because it's like, no, you just made yourself vulnerable and now we're all gonna stone you to death. The reaction can be so violent to someone making themselves vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I think this also relates to Everything Everywhere too, where like, just be kind. Like, it's okay. Like, they're not hurting you. You can just like stick your chest back out and be like, thumbs up, good for you.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. I mean, there's going to be bad comedy no matter what, I guess, but the willingness to like move towards silliness and nonsense and absurdism, I think also is also just like right on time right now.
Yes.
Because 100 years ago we were like, seeing this rise of fascism again, and it's coming largely in not even like in response, I mean, I don't know, whatever, but like to like really public queerness. Anytime that there's the risk of unity, there's like, here comes this hammer to like throw cracks in it. And so the comedy that I've always been really interested in is like nonsense, I guess, or like alternative comedy, It feels like we're on track again because it's like Dada in a way where it's like we all just witnessed we're in apocalyptic times. We are all so traumatized. Like, we all just got bonked on the head by a frying pan. Yeah. And there's no time to be divisive. There's frankly no time. We have a lot that we have to save. It's scary, but it doesn't have to be. I don't want to be nihilistic about it. We can't be because we've got all these kids.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
It just keeps going.
What is it going to take for you to finally find your clown?
I think I need to go away. I think I really want to do a proper clown program. I think I would also need to find a director because I don't think it's something you can do in a vacuum. You can't be, I think you would have to have had like a near-death experience, like be totally enlightened, be a monk to be able to objectively view yourself and say like, your weaknesses are your strength as a clown.
Are there people that find their clown in the course of the class, or you're making it sound like this is like you have to become Buddha to find your clown?
I think finding your clown is an ongoing process, but if it seems like, Like if, say you're sort of an absent-minded person, that's going to be an essential part of your clown. Like we need to see then your clown constantly dropping and forgetting things, late entrances, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
If you have, these are like very stock sort of examples, but like if you have like very long skinny legs, you need to wear tiny shorts. I am giving everybody a nose at like to try at the beginning of the class and then to take home at the end of class to keep practicing. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to name anybody or anything. But I do push people toward like, okay, that's what we're looking for. This thing that you didn't even realize you're doing that everyone is loving. Because that's the thing that I guess that I mean about like you can't find it in a vacuum is the clown doesn't exist without their audience.
Right. And you have to actually see if it's reaching people, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So this is really an ongoing experience. This is an ongoing thing.
Yeah. Christopher Bays also like gives examples of ways that you can practice it, which I'm not brave enough, but one is just turning around in an elevator. But one that I do really love, I don't do it enough, is like if you miss your train to yell, "Ah, nuts!" like loud enough for other people to hear. Just being a dummy in public, like a precious little dummy.
Yes. I do that all the time.
Oh yeah.
But I don't have a good audience because my wife hates this. She's like, "You're always performing." I'm playing different characters out in the world, and she's the only audience, and she doesn't appreciate it. All the time. So is it that she is not my audience, or is it that I haven't arrived yet because I haven't made her laugh properly? And you know what I mean? How do you know that? How do you know if it's not working? How do you know you're just not with the right audience?
I think it's always the right audience. It's like your job to like sort of become transparent enough for them to see like, oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like
so it's
that.
on you, Peter. I'm sorry.
No, that's a hard answer, but that is the answer.
You have to be willing to make a fool of yourself.
Right.
You truly have to set your pride and your ego aside. It is so hard.
It's hard.
And it also sets you up for constant failure and pain. Right. To like live that openly, but it's worth it.
And if you can get used to that, then that's where the secret is.
Yeah. Jeez. I know that's a thing. It's like I'm not there,
right,
but I like to talk about it.
Right.
And I like to do the exercises around it that give us the glimpses.
Tallie Medel, thank you. You finally have come on the show, and the heavens have blessed us. Yes, with your presence here. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. What a pleasure.
Back to One is a production of Filmmaker Magazine, which is a publication of The Gotham, formerly IFP. Listen to back episodes of this podcast at filmmakermagazine.com or wherever you get your podcasts.